Hello everyone. In this video we are going to see how to cook. Well, don't get shocked. We are not going to see how to cook vegetables or something else. We are going to discuss how to cook the enemy king on a chessboard. And here we are going to utilize one of the most powerful, deadliest and the oldest attacking strategies. And it is called as the fried liver attack. So in this module, there will be three sections. In the first section, we are going to see how to fried lure our opponent. What are the attacking strategies? How to play when our opponent will try to escape from fried lure attack. And which are the common mistake our opponent does. So we can checkmate our opponent better. And in the second section, which is very important. How to play when our opponent will try to fried lure us. What should we do then? That's very important, right? And in the final section, and which is the most insane, I would say, and the most beautiful one, and we will see how one of the best player from the past fried lured his opponent. And believe me guys, that is one of the most beautiful and one of the greatest fried lure attack game in the history of chess. And to understand that, you must watch the first and second sections, or else you will not understand that. So without wasting any more time, we are going to move into the video. Alright, moving ahead, let's see how to do fried lure attack. So we start the game with the move e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6 and bishop c4, pretty standard stuff. And here, you know what is Italian pizza, right? How many of you love Italian pizza? In the same way, we should know something called as Italian opening as a chess player. This opening is one of the most popular opening among all level of chess, from a beginner to even elite players. And here, opponent has two major options. One is bishop c5 and nf6. If opponent plays bishop c5, we cannot do fried lure attack. We need to go for something like d3, knight c3, bishop e3 and castle. White is doing a good job. If opponent plays nf6, and here we get an opportunity to play a fried lure attack. First we play ng5. It looks like the game is over. We are threatening to capture the f7 pawn, attacking the queen and the rook. But it's not over here. Opponent has two options. The rest of the options are gone. One is bishop c5, which we'll discuss later, and another option is d5. Opponent stops the n into f7 with the move d5 and attacks the bishop and the pawn. So we capture here. And in this position, which looks like a complete normal position, there is nothing great happening here. And if I give you 5 seconds time to think what would be the best move for black, what would you think here? I'm sure you guys are thinking knight into d5, right? Well, if you think n into d5, then I would say congratulations for you guys. You ended up in the landmine of traps. And here, white can start the fried lever with the move knight into f7. We sacrifice the knight with that attack with the queen and the rook. And this is the fried lever attack. Here, opponent has couple of options here. When I looked into Lichess, I filtered out the Lichess database with the games of all players with below 2000 Lichess rating. And here I found something very interesting here. I found more than 5 million games on Lichess alone. And here the most commonly played move is king into f7. And the second most commonly move, which will surprise you, that was queen f6. Which is obviously a blunder. We're not going to capture the rook here, because if we capture the rook, the knight is trapped in the corner and we'll gain a rook for a knight. Instead, we can capture a whole piece, bishop into d5. Now the rook is under attack. So if the rook moves, we can just play something like d3 and we can plan for a castle. And next we can play nf3 and we can come back also. If opponent plays something like this, we have something exciting. We play the move knight into h6 and we capture the bishop, rook with the bishop. And this is the second most popular move, and the third most popular move, played by more than 82,000 players. Queen d7. And now we cannot, bishop into d5 is not possible, it's a trade, so we play an into h8. And third most popular move after king into f7 is queen h4, played by more than 79,000 players. And here we can simply capture bishop into d5 as we discussed earlier. So seeing all the variations here, so we have discussed what if opponent plays here, and now we'll see what if opponent accepts the sacrifice. And now it's time to start cooking the enemy king.
Yeah, boy.
And here there's a pin. So we need to apply pressure. Whenever there is a pin, we need to apply pressure. And here we may play the move queen f3, attacking the knight, also attacking the king. And here, like I would say, this is like the grand arena for traps. Here black has played horrible moves in Lichess. One of the most commonly played move here is king e8, which is an obviously horrible blunder. You can simply capture bishop into d5, attacking the knight and also threatening checkmate. And here again in Lichess, the most commonly played move was nd4, which lands into a checkmate. And here the third most popular move here was king e7. And here we play the move bishop into d5. And the third most popular move was king g8, which is one of the worst among all. Because here we can checkmate our opponent in the 8th move. We can play bishop into d5. Check. The king is checkmate. There is no way to escape from the checkmate. Opponent can delay the checkmate with some or two moves, but it is checkmate. It's checkmate anyway. So seeing all the options, opponent has only one option to survive here. That is king e6. And now it is white to play. So there is a pin. So whenever there is a pin, you need to apply pressure. Now if I give you 5 seconds to think, how can you bring additional pressure to attack the knight? Take your time, guys. Okay, I'm sure you guys guessed it right. We are playing the move nc3. We are bringing additional piece into the attack. So, like attacking the king, is like a party. You're going for a party. Whenever we are going for a party, it is not right. We are going alone into a party. We should call our friends or a family. Same thing. Attacking the king is like you're entering a party. Bring all the pieces into the attack. Don't just attack with a one knight or a queen. That's really dumb way to play chess. So we're bringing more and more additional people to attack. Now we are overwhelming the knight. 1, 2 and 3 people are attacking the knight. And there is only 2 defenders. In chess we have a rule called as attackers versus defenders. So here in the attacker side there are 3 attackers and there are only 2 defenders from black. So that means attackers can win the trade. So black needs to protect the knight. And there are 2 options here. One is knight b4 and another one is little strange looking move knight e7. So before saying nb4, there is another one option we need to see. In Lichess, highest played in this position was nb4. And the second highest is not what you guessed. It is not ne7 as I told you earlier. It is nd4, which is another blunder. That's what I told you. There are a landmine of traps. There are too much traps we can go. And even I had an experience here. I was playing a game. Even I played with one of my student. And my student played the move nd4 and I played bishop into d7. And my student played king d6. And here the best move is queen d1, retreating back, protecting the square. Well, opponent is planning to attack the queen and also threaten fork here. So that is why one obvious idea is queen d1. But I played something very interesting here. I would prefer you guys to do the same. It's not queen d1, it is queen f7. My student, she was very happy and she captured n into c2 saying, I'm winning. But little did she knew, it's a blunder again. I can play king d1 and into a1 and here knight e4 checkmate. So nd4, the second most commonly played move in Lichess, is again a blunder. Okay, now we are going to see which is the most commonly played move here, nb4. And here, we are not going to play queen d1 now. Instead, we play castle. We are allowing knight into c2. And if opponent plays n into c2, it's a blunder again. You gain a piece. So if opponent plays c6, protecting the knight, And now, okay, the knight is protected. But still the king is weak. So we need to open the lines to bring other pieces to attack the king. So this is one way to attack. But if this pawn is gone, we can bring additional attack. So here we play the move d4. We are ready to sacrifice the pawn to open the lines. In one of the game, I saw my opponent played the move a into d4. And here, it's my turn. And in this position, I played bishop into d5, knight into d5, and I played rook e1 check, attacking the king. And the king slided away. And here, I'll give you 5 seconds to think here, and you can pause the time if you want. It is white to play. Can you find a brilliant idea I found here? In this position, I played the move bishop g5. I'm sacrificing the bishop. The bishop is like hanging there for free. Well, opponent didn't capture here. If opponent captures, it's a fork. Queen gone. Queen boom. So in the game, opponent played bishop e7. Now it's time for something else. I played the move rook into e7. I'm sacrificing the rook now. Opponent cannot capture the queen because we can capture the queen. So n into e7. And now there is a pin. And our knight is hanging. So what will you play? In the game, I played the move rook e1, sacrificing the knight. Well, opponent didn't play here. If opponent captures, we can capture here. And now we are not going to capture the queen. If we capture the queen, opponent has too much material in return for a queen. It's not an easy win for a white now. Instead, we are not going to capture the queen first. First, we need to separate these two guys with the move queen d3 check. And now we can capture. And now it's a winning game. So in the game, my opponent didn't play the move d into c3. Instead, he played rook f8, attacking the queen back. Now, it's another brilliancy right now. I played the move and b5. Now it's time to sacrifice the knight. C into b5, bishop into e7, and finally a beautiful skewer, and the queen is gone. And my opponent resigned the game. So this is just one variation. Like, there are overwhelming attacking opportunities for you. If you bring all your pieces, attack the enemy king, the game is yours. So this is regarding the nb4. And next we are going to see the n7 variation. Instead of nb4, n7, which is more like a passive line here. And here, instead of playing castling here, we can play the move d4. We're opening the lines now itself. If opponent in this case captures, now we can play n into d5, something like here, and check. If the king moves, here we cannot, no need to capture here, we can play queen here, and now the queen is gone. So it's an easy win. If opponent is protecting here, now we have many moves actually we can capture here. Next we can bring the bishop, do long castle, bring the rooks into the center. I promise you the game is yours. It's a clear win game. So these are the two lines where black can play when we are playing fried liver attack. So we understood how to play fried liver attack. But that's not the end. But there is something extremely important we need to say now. So in the initial position, I showed you something very interesting. In the initial position here, I told you black has two options. Black has two options. When we play the move ng5, black has two options. One is d5. That's what we have learned now comprehensively. But another move for our opponent is bishop c5. And this is, guys, one of the most deadliest counter-attack in entire chess openings. And believe me, it looks like a natural blunder. But it's very, very powerful poisonous trap. So here, what will you play as white? If I give you 5 seconds to think now, what will you play now? Okay, I'm sure all of you, 99% of you guys guessed. Shall we play n into f7? Well, you think? Then congratulations, you guys are all wrong. What? What's the problem now? Because now opponent has a counter sacrifice. And in this position, as black, we can play the move bishop into f2. Black is counter sacrificing with a check. And here, if the king captures, I found a line which I really loved, and which is one of the most commonly played reaction from white in Lichess. Black plays n into e4, and the most popular move here is king e1. Queen h4, g3 was played, and now knight into g3 we sack the knight. When the pawn captures, queen into h1, and now shall we capture the queen? And if you are saying yes, then you are mistaken again. We are going to separate them again. So we play nd4 check, and the queen gets separated, and we capture the queen. So that is why here n into f7 is a blunder. So generally when we should not play n into f7 in fried liver, when our opponent has an opportunity to play these ideas. An opponent can do some counter attacks to you like this, then it's very big problem for us. Then it is extremely dangerous. So in this position we are not going to play n into f7. Instead we are going to play bishop into f7 check. And the king moves, one of the most common moves is king f8, and which simply slide back. And next we can play nc3, we can play d3, we can castle, we can bring the knight, we are threatening a fork here. When our opponent escapes, we can bring the knight back, develop the bishop. It's having a good game. So this is how you can play against Traxler. When our opponent tries to play bishop c5, please remember, don't do nf7. Instead we play the move bishop into f7. So this is how you can play fried liver attack, and how we can counter when our opponent tries to play Traxler attack against us. So to learn how to play Traxler attack, I'll be creating a separate video where you can learn in detail how to play Traxler attack, but not in this video. So we understood how to play fried liver attack and which are the most common opponent's ideas to counter our attack, and we learned how to defend against all the threats. And that's not the end of the video. And now we are going to learn another very important. We understood how to play fried liver attack, but the question remains, what if our opponent tries to fried liver us? Then what should we do? One of the most common moves people play is resign. So don't resign, we are going to do something else. So we have understood how to play fried liver attack. But if I ask you a question, what will you do when your opponent tries to fried liver you? So in this section, we are going to see how to play when our opponent tries to fried liver us. So moving on to the position. So in this position, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and f6, and g5. We have learned all these moves. And here I told you there are two options for black. One is d5 and one is bishop c5. We are not going to show you how to play bishop c5, the Traxler variation right now. No, we will see d5, e into d5, and here, well, are you guys ready to play n into d5? I am sure you have watched the video, so we will not play n into d5. And here we have mainly three options. There are three most commonly played moves in Lichess, and one is an a5, one is b5, and one is nd4. I am going to show you two of my personal favorites, and one is na5, which I used to play as a child. For many years I played this line, and I'll show you another one, very interesting and very powerful idea, b5. So let's see how to play na5, and this is called as the Polario defense. So here opponent has many options. We'll see the three most commonly played options. One is bishop b5. The bishop e5 is the highest played options with more than 5.5 lakh games. And here, what should we play as black here? And if I give you 5 seconds to think here, what will you play as black? I'm sure most of you are thinking bishop d7, right? No, I would not recommend playing bishop d7 here. Bishop d7 captures, castle, and if we capture, the position goes into more like an equalist position. White can attack the pawn, white can develop very fast, the position will be equalish. So we are not going to play the move bishop d7. Instead, we play the move c6. We are going to sacrifice a pawn here. So this is called as gaining a tempo. Tempo in chess means a free move in chess. Basically, you'll get extra time in chess. No, don't think wrong. Time doesn't mean you are getting extra time on the clock. Basically, whenever you are playing a game, you're attacking your opponent. You're creating threats for your opponent. Opponent has to stop his plans and respond to your threats. So opponent will waste his moves, and that gives you additional time. Though these are called as tempo in chess. Basically, free moves. Whenever you attack your opponent, those are tempos. You will gain extra moves. You get extra time. So always, whenever we are playing a game, it's always good to attack our opponent to gain tempo. And here we are playing c6, not allowing our opponent to go for natural developing moves. And we're hitting our opponent each move, c6, attacking the bishop. Opponent captures, and what should we do now? We're not going to play n into c6. We're playing b into c6, gaining another tempo. And the bishop e2, there are two options, bishop e2 and bishop d3. I'll show you one line I love to play here, bishop e2, and we play h6 again, attacking our opponent's knight. And we attack again, and attack again. And now opponent plays the move d4, and we do unpass. Opponent captures, and here we can castle. Before castling, we played something very interesting, queen c7. Because not allowing our opponent to castle immediately next move. Next we can castle. So this is the Polari defense. There are many lines here. I'll be attaching a Lichess study for you guys in the description where you can go through all the lines. I've showed you one simple lines here as black. And next we can castle, bring both rooks to the center, and we can x-ray over the queen. Next we can bring the bishop here, and pushed upon like this, we have a great attacking opportunity. So this is Polari defense. Another option for us, instead of na5, is playing the move b5. And this is called as the Ulvestad variation, which sounds very crazy. Let's not remember the opening names. You are not going for a quiz competition. You are playing just a chess game. We play the move b5, not b6, sorry, b5. And here opponent has many popular lines. And here honestly, I have seen more than like 7 lakh games in Lichess. And only 90,000 players played the right move, bishop f1. Like more than 60 to 70% players made it wrong. Everyone played bishop into b5, bishop going back, opponent captures, all the wrong moves. So we'll see some interesting lines here. If opponent plays bishop into b5, now we capture, attack the queen. Now the bishop is under attack. Sorry, my bad. Capture, we capture. Now we are attacking the pawn. If opponent castles, we play bishop b7, creating a battery. This is called as a battery, very powerful in chess. And here, and again in the Lichess, the most commonly played move is f3. And we give check, and the king moves. The knight is in our territory. Don't allow our opponent's pieces in our territory. So we can kick it, and next we can do long castle. It looks like black is doing a stupid idea, like your king is little weak, right? But honestly speaking, black pieces are very active and white pieces are not even developed there. And we are attacking very vibrantly here. Next we can play g5, g4, rook g8. Black is having a great time. So this is Ulvestad variation. So I would recommend, there are 2 lines. nd4 is also playable, which I never played before and even I don't like that line much. I would recommend you to choose one among them. One is knight f5 and b5. You can choose one among these. And I'll be attaching the Lichess study in the description where you can memorize these ideas, revise these variations, and you can have a great game. So this is b5. If opponent captures here, this is what we are going to do. And if opponent plays d into c6, and now we have a very interesting idea. We play b into c4, castle. I'll show you one of my favorite line here. And if we are playing h6, knight goes back, e4 kicking the knight, knight moves, and now we attack the knight again. And here, one of my student played the move knight into c4, saying, I captured your pawn. And she was very happy. But this is a big blunder. And here, I'll give you 5 seconds to think what should black play. In this position, we are going to play bishop into h2. We sacrifice the bishop, and this is called as the great Greek gift sacrifice, one of the most beautiful combination of chess. And here, if the king captures, we play ng4, attacking the king. If the king goes back somewhere here, it's a check. If the king slides, and it's a checkmate. If opponent plays king h2, but still the attack is not weak, we play queen h4, threatening checkmate. If opponent moves here, we have very beautiful combination. We start with the move queen into f2, king comes here, and we slide, give check again, and we give check again, and it's a mate. Beautiful checkmate. We play queen into f2 first, because if you give check directly, it's not a checkmate, still black is winning. This pawn is stopping us from giving checkmate. So we capture the pawn first. So we play queen into f2, we capture the pawn, and we come back and checkmate. So this is one of my favorite. Bishop into h2. If king captures, we play g4 check. The king comes forward, and now we play h5. We're planning to play h4 check. The most natural moves I have seen is d3. And now we play h4 check. The king has only 2 squares. The king comes here. Now we play n into f2 check, and its queen is over. Queen gone. So this is very beautiful. Very beautiful idea. So this is just one. There are many such scenarios where you can get a great attack. So this is the second variation I was saying, bishop b5. So these are the two ways where you can play when your opponents try to fried liver you. If an opponent plays ng5, you can either play b5 or na5. Another option is Traxler, I would recommend. You can choose one among these. So in the next section, we are going to see a game of a great player, one of the most greatest chess players of all time, and he played one of the most fascinating fried liver attack in the entire chess. And I promise if you see the game, it will blow your mind. So we'll see the game in the next section. Alright, we have seen how to play fried liver attack, and we have also seen how to play against fried liver attack. And now we have come into the final section of the video. And here we are going to see a beautiful game. And this game was played 175 years ago. Exactly, this game happened in black and white era. And the player who played as white, and he was one of the greatest chess players of all time, and the former world chess champion Bobby Fischer called this player as one of the greatest genius of all time. He was also called as the unofficial world chess champion. And this guy is the legend Paul Morphy. And this game is very interesting game of all. And here, if you notice the chessboard, you can see Paul Morphy is not having a rook. This game happened in 1850. Paul Morphy was playing as white, and his opponent who played as black was his own father, Alonzo Morphy. So in this game, Paul Morphy is playing without a rook. That itself is fascinating. And here, the way Paul Morphy showcased his brilliancy is absolutely mind-blowing. Let's see the game. Alright, Paul Morphy started the game with the move e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and f6. Well, black also tried to challenge Paul Morphy, and Paul Morphy is playing without a rook. That is really incredible. And in the game, and g5, pretty standard stuff. We have seen all these lines, and d5, into d5, and we know which are the moves black should play here. But in the game, Paul Morphy's opponent, his own father, Alonzo Morphy, played an into d5. A serious mistake. And now it is Paul Morphy's turn. And Paul Morphy played the move knight into f7, sacrificing the knight. King into f7, and now queen f3 check. Applying pressure for the knight, and in the game king e6, and now it is white to play, and we know what should we play as white, and Paul Morphy played the move nc3. And in this position, black played a terrible blunder. In this position, black played the move and d4. A terrible, terrible blunder. And now bishop into d5 was played and king goes to d6, and in this position it is white to play. And if I give you 5 seconds to think what should Paul Murphy play here, what will you suggest? Paul Murphy played in this move queen f7, and we are threatening an e4 checkmate. Black cannot play an into c2 because we have already seen in one of my game it was king here and black is getting checkmated with the move e4. So in the game, his father played the move bishop a6, saying, okay, the problem is this bishop is a nuisance, right? So let me trade the bishop, which was a mistake. And here Paul Murphy captured knight, knight into, and from here see the way Paul Murphy played. This is incredible. So before moving ahead, where was the king earlier? The king was on e8, right? And the king started traveling now. The king started his journey. The king was here, the king came here, and the king came here, and the king has come here. And this is not the final point of the king. And see how beautifully Paul Murphy is chasing the king away. Like he's chasing the king like a rat, like chasing it, chasing it, chasing it, and the king is running away. And here Paul Murphy played the move knight e4 check, and the king has two square to go. One is king here and here. The king comes here, we capture the knight. So the king cannot come here, the king has to come here. And now it is Paul Murphy's turn. And here I would love that you guys find the answer here. It is white to play, and can you find what Paul Murphy played? I'll give you 5 seconds here. Alright, Paul Murphy played the move c4. He's sacrificing the knight and forcing the king to either come here or go back. If the king goes back again, we capture the knight. And if you count the material, well, still white is down a rook. But white's having a great attack. White's having a great attack. Black has to play something like this. And white can still continue the attack. Something like queen check. If the king comes here, c5. The bishop cannot move, there is a pin. And white has a great attack. So this is winning. So in the game c4 happened, black cannot come here. So in the game black played king into e4. And now queen into e6. And then notice the king was here. The king came like this, like this, like this, and here. Sorry, here. And this is not the final destination again. In the game queen d4. And here Paul Murphy can checkmate his opponent in 8 moves. And here Paul Murphy finished earlier itself. Paul Murphy played the move queen g4 check, king d3, and queen check again. King here. Notice, where was the king earlier? The king was on e8. Where did the king come here? The king is coming like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Here, what is this? Paul Murphy is chasing his opponent's king, and the king is having a great walk here. And now d3 check, and in this move, black could have played king b1, and he could have attacked this pawn and tried to survive something like this. This would have been a better choice, but still, this is not. The king is not safe from danger. But this should have been a better idea. But in the game, he played king into c1, and this is the final moment. And here it is the turn of Paul Murphy. And what should Paul Murphy play? This is extremely beautiful. So I'll give you 5 seconds for you guys to think and tell me what should Paul Murphy play here. Alright, Paul Murphy just castled, and the game is checkmate. How often can you see your games where you castle in the same moment opponent is getting checkmated? And this is one of the rarest of rarest moments. Notice how the game ended in just 18 moves. The Friedler attack is so powerful, and notice Palmer played the game without a rook. Still, he had such an incredible game. And here, the king started running. Here, here, and check. The king started running. The Palmer started chasing the king in a beautiful way. C4, and check, and final checkmate. A brilliant showcase of how deadly the Friedler attacks are. So now you understood how to play as Friedler attack and how to escape from Friedler attack. So I would suggest you guys to now go to Lichess or chess.com and start playing Friedler attack. And in the description, I have attached the Lichess study where you can revise the and all the variations again at your own convenience. Okay, thank you. See you next time.